Inside prediction markets. We got a great guest coming up, but we're going to start with the three big stories we saw in prediction markets this week.
Yeah.
Chris, you've got our lead off.
Yes. So the first was obviously the soldier betting $400,000 on polymarket on the Maduro news. He got prosecuted by the DOJ, and kind of a poor use of inside information. You're going to find yourself in prison in all likelihood.
A big moment for serious material non-public information breaches to be prosecuted on prediction markets. So that's nice to see the system starting to work.
But
poor guy.
I do want to point out, before people hate on prediction markets and everything, this was done on an offshore, not regulated by the CFTC market. This was done on Polymarket International, which is not regulated by the CFTC.
But he still is legally liable for leaking like national security information, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's very frustrating for me to be like, oh, inside information is a feature, not a bug. It's like, no, no, this is not what it should be.
And what we might call story 1A or 1B, because it's so closely connected, is Trump's comments in the wake of this saying the whole world is kind of turned into a casino. And I'd probably dovetail that with Commissioner Seelig saying more prediction market regulation is on the table. You just start to see that there are there is pressure and progress towards increased scrutiny and regulation around prediction markets, which is probably healthiest for everybody involved.
I thought it was hilarious that Trump, the man who built many casinos, was saying, oh, the whole world is turning into a casino. It's like, you might be at fault here. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone knew, even like the biggest prediction market bulls knew that there was going to be regulation, and regulation is fine as long as it makes sense. Like, we talked about, a couple of weeks ago, you can't regulate sports betting by saying you can't bet in sports in any normal fashion, like $100 limits and all this stuff. Like, you can regulate prediction markets, just make sure it makes sense and it's good for everyone, because it's better for a safer regulatory and environment for all consumers. Now, the last thing, what is the third biggest thing that you know?
The third story is that Polymarket is lobbying the CFTC to bring their international exchange back to the U.S. So Polymarket offers a crypto-based international exchange based out of Panama. It technically doesn't take U.S.-based customers.
I don't know any U.S. customers that use it.
Yeah. And then they have a separate U.S. product that it originally had a liquidity problem. They've kind of solved that with liquidity incentives, but the volume is way lower. There's not nearly as much activity on the U.S. platform. The international platform is the thing. It's really hard to build two ecosystems in parallel, and they've done a really good job once, and they'd like to just port all those customers over. But that's complicated, right? Like the international version does not have the KYC that I think the CFTC expects. It's crypto backed, which I don't, they're changing all the infrastructure right now. A lot of stuff is happening in Polymarket. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of it was on the back of this decision, or trying to clean everything up for this. But sometimes when you have a crypto based platform, you have less control because it is decentralized than the CFTC would want you to have, right? Like, what is your ability to unwind trades and to identify malicious counterparties and like? So, I mean, if you had asked me before today, I would have said impossible, fundamentally not doable. But the fact that they're asking means they must think there's some chance they can do this.
Yeah, but I just don't understand. Like, what was the point of the Polymarket US? Like, why do they get Polymarket US if they're just going to for the international?
Well, I don't think they believe they could do this, and I think they're now seeing that rebuilding from scratch is also really hard.
But I feel like the bigger problem is like people like Polymarket International because there's no KYC, and like some like crypto bro that is like happily trading there in Canada or like Mexico or whatever, and is like, oh, I don't have to show my identity. This is great. Oh, now you need to be KYC'd if you want to trade. No thanks. Like, I don't think he's gonna be like, oh, now that you've asked, I'll KYC myself. Like, I feel like the big point of it all. So I just don't think they're gonna be able to retain all the customers if they go over, and they might just like shooting themselves in the foot. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but that's just my general read.
More will be revealed. All right, Next, OpticOdds hot seat. We have Ship the Justice, one of the great classic personalities of sports betting Twitter. Really good conversation coming up. Really excited. Thanks for joining us. OpticOdds hot seat right now. We've got Ship the Justice on Twitter. Good to see you, man.
It is great to finally meet the both of you in person. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the preeminent podcast guests of the last 5 years. Done some of the big shows. You did Circles Off. They brought back the interviews just for you last week.
Part 2, yeah. It was good. It was tough though. It was kind of a retake of my Risk Takers appearance.
Yeah, sure.
But going to a different audience.
Why are you doing a podcast circuit right now? What's coming? You about to
no, it's a good question. It is truly so difficult to figure out what you can give away. And I've talked to some people about this, and I think the way I've thought about it is you want to give away like C- level stuff to the public. So I'm definitely not giving you the best stuff. You want to give about B level stuff to your peers, and then keep the A+ stuff to just you and your partners. So like when you can have information sharing, that's really, really valuable. So I'm trying to just make more connections, be more out there, meet more people, and hear more ideas. Information sharing is great, but if information sharing is done in a public sphere, then it obviously gets too wide. You want to keep that circle closer.
Yeah. So I think for this one, everyone's heard your like sports betting stories. We don't need to go over that. We want to dive into the prediction market thing. But if you don't mind, just for our audience, could you give a quick like 2-minute summary about who you are, how you came into sports betting, and then now prediction market space a little bit?
Absolutely. You'll notice my voice is a lot different. It's not an American accent. I came over from New Zealand via Australia, and and I got into bookmaking, and I've been in bookmaking for about 6 years, I think, and then quit to become a full-time pro at the start of 2023 after my marriage with my wife was underway, or it had already been completed, but the green card process was underway. And once I was able to do that, then I was able to quit, which was good.
So the first time I talked to you, you reached out to me because you had brainstormed a bunch of ideas about what to talk about on zero latency, about exchanges on a Peloton. You're always thinking on a Peloton.
Indeed, yeah.
That's what like 25.
Before you get into this, I just want to say, he said, he showed me that your comments to him, and he was like, incredible that he got all of this with like no experience in exchanges. Like he was very impressed with your.
Yeah, I mean, working sports betting and exchanges, as much as they want to distance themselves, they are still close.
But still, there were a bunch of new dynamics that emerged when the sweepstakes exchanges like Novig and Profit came out that were like had not been seen in the U.S. because we had a few exchanges before them, but no scale. And when the scale first arrived, there was a lot of new stuff happening. And so you sent me your thoughts, and I was like, oh, this guy like really gets it and is plugged in. And I kind of assumed that you were doing like consulting and sort of were in it. And then the next time we talked, you had like all these specific takes about the NFL MVP market. I was like, I think this guy just bets on sports a lot. Like I kind of, no offense, don't give a shit about any of this stuff anymore. Like I'm just, I can't keep track of it. So I was impressed by the level of knowledge of the space while also just like still finding a passion to care about like fares on specific markets that are live right now.
I'm just an extreme nerd when it comes to this stuff. I love the industry, and you get talking to so many people. I still have friends within the sports betting industry, and so you just have all these ideas, and I have to get them out somewhere. And I think that's probably where it comes from. But you were saying about how we haven't had these exchanges at scale, and it's certainly not in America. We also haven't had it in the age of group chats and like discords and information sharing.
Yeah.
Information sharing is at an all-time high, and that leads to ruthlessness. And so like there's way, way more ruthless operators that are like, or market participants in these exchanges. And I think that kind of like breaks a lot of like the market making.
I want to touch on that a little bit, because I've seen a lot of not on the sports sides, but the mention markets things, like our good friend Foster and Prediction Market Trader, two actual like good pros at mention markets. They talk strategy, which seems counterintuitive to me, because like the markets there are very illiquid, and like if you have it a take, you can't just like, it's who's going to get it. One of you is going to get it. do you think we're going to see some friendships breaking up? Or like, how does it, when you talk about the rules, like, what do you kind of mean? Can you expand on that?
And mention markets also are so repeatable too.
Right.
Like, so every edge that you have is going to like pop itself back up in another situation. But to me, it's that people now are not just, say Joel Embiid gets ruled out. They don't just go and bet the Miami Heat. They go and like bet some like levered SGP, take advantage of this, and they will just smash that thing. Like they're not just taking a bite. They're going to like absolutely ravage the entire body of this. So that to me is the roof.
And they're going to sell the fact that they did that to somebody else to, pick them up. Yeah, no, the second order effects are crazy. What is your current level of, how much have you invested your operation into prediction markets?
I've come in at a good time. It's my biggest prediction market week ever, and that's because it's the end of the NBA season. We're figuring out which teams are going to try is right in my wheelhouse.
You're talking about end of regular season.
Yes.
Where sometimes an entire team is announced out. Sometimes a player is starting, but not really, and he'll play 5 minutes. Yeah, right.
And so I had a very off-market take that I thought that Denver were going to punt against Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And I chatted to a lot.
You might have mentioned this once or twice on Twitter.
Yes, indeed. I actually mentioned it before they got ruled out. I had enough position. I talked to enough people, talked to enough friends. Cool. Now I'm actually going to put this thing out to the public. But in that position, we took out an entire strike on kalshi as a sharp taker, as you guys seem to dislike. And
you're the worst kind of people.
I know. So we took out an entire strike, and market just basically just rebuilt back up. And the liquidity that you can get early on this stuff is just like absolutely insane. And obviously not having to worry about where it closes, where, the residual effects to your account. And so like for betting, just like honestly, prediction markets just get my worst flow. They get the worst bets. Yeah. The sports books, they get some good bets because they have to think about the account. The prediction markets and chart books, they just give them the absolute dregs.
So Chipper did text me that I will admit I did not act on that information. I regret that. Obviously, he was right.
That's all delicate, right? You want the next text.
And the bet lost. So,
okay. But that's irrelevant. He texted me when the spread was 11.5. It closed 3.
Closed at 1.
Yeah, and so obviously anyone that knows anything knows that bet was worth a significant amount of. I'm sure you probably like hedged out or like made.
And that's the thing. Like with prediction markets now, you can get out of these things cheaply, right? Like you're betting on these players not playing. I'm not betting on them winning. And that was the other thing is that, so without getting too nerdy, like gets ruled out. We're chatting around where should be the fair here? Like, what is the actual fair price? And it's like these two teams are playing each other. They don't even care. Yeah. And yet the market's still million one side, million the other side. Yeah. 1 cent wide. Like, why are we doing this? I don't know. But long live the market makers. Let them keep going.
Why did you not, when they grew back up, take out another strike? Why did you not keep just going?
It's a good question. It's like a level of conviction, right? Like I'm not 100% sure they're going to rest.
That's fair, but I would argue, like to your point you just said, is like you're not actually risking the whole like bets, because if you're wrong, you could just take it out and lose 5% and be like, all right, fuck me, I'm wrong.
That is a good point, and like probably something that we didn't consider. Probably should have been more aggressive in that spot with the intent to sell.
Chris, you're only going to make these guys smarter. This is going to suck so hard. Like
another one that I've done recently is where, and this one I wasn't necessarily a maker, but a make to take effectively.
Right. Yeah.
Where we knew that the Luka Doncic news is going to come down, that he's going to have a hamstring injury that's going to rule him out for the NBA awards. But we've already considered what's going to happen for a potential repeal or an appeal of his position. And so we just put up a lot of no liquidity or ability for people to bet no, and the fish just came straight in and just eat it. I think
you were taking yes?
We were offering no.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And so we put a tranche up at 40 and a tranche up at 10, and we're like, oh, there's no way that they take the 10, and they just gobble the entire thing.
Wait, what was the market?
He's like 90-95 or whatever to go if he's actually going to make it. Sorry, Luka Doncic to make all NBA.
Oh, got it. That was
sorry. Okay. Yeah. There was a market on kalshi, and I talked about it on the Circles Off, actually. I built this sim to price out all NBA first team, basically weighted on skill and then voter preferences and all this sort of stuff. And in the end, I just ended up betting on this like random technicality. And that's kind of that's what gambling is, right? Like you come up with all these fears and you come up with these sophisticated models and you build them all. And in the end, you just bet some raw. And
but that's, I mean, you talked about like you could have gone a lot more on the Nuggets game, but the certainty, right? It's with each incremental dollar, market prices, you have to bow down at some point, right? And having that underlying model that maybe you never actually trade off any alpha from it, it can just increase the total number of dollars that you're willing to take before you regress to market finally, right? It can be that simple.
Having a number is so important for just your confidence to actually do stuff, and like it can lead to false confidence. I think Nate Silver has talked before about how when someone assigns a number to something, they just believe that number is like 100% right. Whereas if you said something was likely, there's like a band around that, right? 80% and likely may actually mean the same, like mean number, but if you say likely, there's a band of uncertainty. If you just see 80.00%, you're like, well, it's 80.00%.
Yeah. I think so much of this historically has dissolved into the -110 spread too. Like there's a lot of cool shit that's like, well, you can theorize about this, but we're not trading equities. God, like there's no room for these ideas. And prediction markets by tightening spreads have made it possible to be like, oh, well, do we think, so-and-so is biased against this public team, or like that they're expecting late money in this direction. Like all these things were always like too fringe to care about have come up in a way that like, if you have that idea combined with underlying numbers, like you can do way more interesting things now.
I want to ask a question about award markets. I know you're very big into them. Obviously, I assume you're a CLV truther like myself. How do you grade CLV and awards markets when it's every new piece of information? Like how do you know your take was right or wrong? Because you can't be you can't always be results oriented, right?
It's just easy enough that you end up winning so much that it doesn't matter. If your ROIs are big enough, then the bands of uncertainty never even sniff zero, so it's fine.
Do you have any NBA award hot takes right now, or is it all kind of?
It's all basically on the way. So there's nothing really there.
Nothing interesting.
All right, wait. What about Con and Cooper?
I mean, I think Con is the right side to bet, but it's not. I don't.
At what price?
I think market was about 50 the last time I checked, and that seems pretty good. But I wouldn't make it anything above 60. So like obviously like it's this is kind of what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
right? Like this is the one I'm not so sure. It's like only 60 on 50.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If I could get 60 at 50 fair all day, I'd be
right. But these are smaller pools, and placing some bets scare the market, and you have to think about your trading strategies and all that sort of stuff.
1 second, I'm just gonna get real nerdy on it. But personally, I assume you think like Con is easily rookie.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't think it would be horrendous. Like, to me, it makes sense that the guy who is the best prospect should get some bump.
Fair enough.
But like how big that bump, I don't know.
We're coming up on NBA playoffs now. Last year on NBA playoffs, there's a lot of funny business overnight on prediction markets. A lot of totals moving 4 points between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. and then bouncing back the other way. Do you think that, or you said you just had your biggest week. Do you think that you're on the up and up on prediction market activity? Like, do you see that increasing in playoffs, or is playoffs a little too efficient overall? Or
pretty efficient. I mean, the ability to get depth early, but I'm really just going to bet mistakes. Honestly, like I'm just going to bet stuff where I know that there's going to be an injury and just absolutely blast it.
Yeah.
But going and battling it out for 1 to 2%, or winning 5% even on big volume, it's not really my game. And also, if I can do that and not have it close in the NBA, then like I'm going to bet that it softs, right? Like there's such a big residual to being able to beat or like bet on a market where it doesn't close. Like I would way rather have that in my soft portfolio than in a one where just the residual to the bet doesn't matter.
So what does your team look like right now? Like, is it mostly just you and then like friends, partners, or is it actually like a LLC?
I have one other partner,
okay,
and we're on a full risk split, and it's been that way basically since inception. And like we do keep tackling more and more problems. there's some argument that we could expand and go elsewhere, but the part of the other problem is if other people see my order flow, they're going to figure out what I'm doing, and like they'll be able to do it a little bit themselves.
When you say other people, do you mean traders at other sports books?
No, I mean,
Oh, you
yes,
mean
yes,
add people to your team?
Yeah, like
okay.
more people to
Yeah.
the team, and also we don't really use movers for that reason too.
Right.
We if we are using partners, they are normies. We love normies.
Yeah. God bless them.
Yes.
Um,
They just click the bin. They got no idea what.
so you know what you would do with additional talent, but you're worried about leaking alpha.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, there's probably an argument to say that we would increase our earn if we did bring more people in, but it leads to some huge risk of blowing up our entire business.
What about like just like a normie engineer, like someone that doesn't bet sports, doesn't know gambling, but just like is actually like would be a FANG level engineer? Have any value?
That is one that would potentially make some sense, yeah, and probably something to consider.
You guys do NBA all markets. You do NFL awards.
Mhm.
What else do you do?
We do a lot of everything. We try and have prices for, I mean, basically anything that could go on. How much of that is weighted by like market fares versus how much of that is weighted by bottom up fares is obviously across the spectrum, but we'll bet on absolutely everything.
Yeah. Have you entertained the idea of working for a PM?
I have considered it slightly, but to me, it's not really the career. The main thing that I love about betting, other than the money's obviously really good, but my wife works remote and is very flexible, and being totally flexible myself held so much value. And that
Are you guys like digital nomad lifestyle?
Quite a bit, yeah. I mean, we live in Chicago, and so we don't live in Chicago during the winter. Really, we just go somewhere else in the world that is a little bit warmer. And
You got no kids, right?
No, and so I'm actually always pushing to be in Chicago because it
Chicago's nice.
allows me to work harder. I work out hard during I just go full hermit mode during the winter, but that is not that's not good relationship to have with your wife. That she's begging to get outside, and I say, no, honey, we're going to stay inside. We've been outside. No more outside.
I have to listen to your podcast on my Peloton. Yeah. Yeah. You got a few more years of that left in you.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah. But obviously it's really exciting, right? Like it's a really exciting industry, and like it's crazy that the growth that it has and also can have into the future. So like, I mean, there's tons of me that wishes I could still work on the booking side. Like the problems actually, I think, are more interesting to solve on the book side than they are on the betting side. Because when you're on the betting side, you're solving the same problems quite often. And like there is nothing that people like us love more than just new challenges to solve.
It's so funny because having just done that switch, like I used to think like, how could a book get hit on injury news? It's so easy. And then here I am getting hit every fucking day. It's like, it's actually quite hard to like perfectly solve for that.
And when you sum up all your goals, it's like, is this actually a really high, important goal of mine to not get picked off on injuries each time? It's like, maybe not. Like I can lose $100 in EV a day to not hire a full-time guy to sit there with his finger on the button or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's so many aspects, and like even more so in the sharp betting world, right? Like I was at a soft book, I was playing on easy mode. It was but even there's enough problems for me to solve. Going to a sharp book, there's just even more.
It's many times since we started doing this, I've tracked down a sharp in a particular field. Like, okay, I need a CSGO sharp or something, and called them up and said, I need you to tell me how to win at your sport, because if I don't know, I can't make it, and we can't offer it on the platform. Because I need you to tell me, do the schedules change constantly, or is there pass post risk? Is there, like,
you have no idea.
People throw matches like I need to at least know the surface area of attack. I'm not gonna go then be a professional CSGO bettor. Like, and you just have to trust me. And I've had tons of like real, ADR is the kind of guy who does.
Yeah.
Like we'll consider like baseball rules or whatever, and I'll be like, call up ADR. Ask him how much we'd lose if we did that.
He's so great to have a relationship with.
Yeah. Because it's like there is this symbiotic relationship if it's done properly, where it's like, I want to provide this market to you and to everybody, but it can't be a thing that I lose $1 million on the first day because I didn't understand some fundamental rule.
I mean, real OGs will remember the podcast TBWC, the As We Chosen, and the host Phil Shepherd, he always used to start the pod with like, so how does the sport that you bet actually work? Like, how does it, what is the cycle that it goes through? Like, what do you do? And like, once you get to that, then you can figure out where you can be beat.
Yeah. As a market specifically, right? Like who opens first?
Right.
What are they open?
When do the limits go
When
up?
does it move? Yeah.
When do the market participants come in? Yeah. When, like, how does this all work? And it was so weird coming over here. I was one of the very early people over in the US, and like, I didn't really understand the US betting infrastructure, like ecosystem at all. And like, you just have no idea what's going on, but very quickly you learn.
So it's an interesting concept because you were talking about how way too early on NBA markets, when nobody knows who's going to play and there's tons of volatility, you might see 6 figures of liquidity on both sides of the book. And that violates everything we're just talking about, right? Like that is not when there should be 6 figures of liquidity on the book. But it's not one moron doing that. It's lots of individuals getting into the queue and possibly like making money doing it, right? Being like,
Absolutely.
okay, I lose to Shipper, but also this is the only way I ever even get the recreational fills later in the day is to have Q position. So there is like it's like foolish in aggregate, but it's smart on an individual basis sometimes. I mean, we'd have to look at the numbers. Do you think, how much do you think we will see prediction markets start to regress into what sharp offshore books have looked like historically in terms of liquidity? And how much do you think this is kind of a new paradigm and what you get when you allow for unlimited third-party market makers to all join? Like, do you think, oh, this is a short-lived golden era, or do you think like this is just the beginning of a totally new framework?
I think it's a little bit of both, but I think it's not about the presence of market makers. It's the presence of so many fish. It's that there are so many new entrants here who are just jumping in and have massive. The thing that people from, I mean, Americans will understand this, but people from the rest of the world don't understand. People in America have so much money.
Yeah. It's
Like,
so good to be
There's
American.
just some dude in like the middle of nowhere who owns this like refinery and like a grain business, and he's got $25 million, $50 million, and he's just happy to punt off $1 million a year.
Well, also people who make $80K a year, that's still a ton of money.
Yeah.
You're like the king of England if you make that a year.
It's crazy. I have like lawyer friends and finance friends in the UK, and like some of the lawyer friends will be like, yeah, making £110,000, and it's like people who just do email jobs and make $110,000 a year.
So I want to get more specific in this question. Maybe we'll cut this as too much alpha leakage, but like I've noticed several spots, I'm sure you have too, where there's literally a market, and on the exchanges, mainly the big one, Kalshi, there's 500,000 on both sides, and the limit across all the sharp books is 10K total. And I'll see the sharp books move first, and then the exchanges move after, and I'm like, how is this logical? Like if you're actually sharp, clicking Chris, clicking Penny, why the fuck are you not getting the 500,000 down? Do you think this exists for the next year or two?
I mean, that's where the ruthlessness comes in.
Yeah, right.
Like the originally sports betting was I've got opinion A, you've got opinion B. We go head to head.
Yeah.
Then when you now have market fears, like if you and I were just to bet on something that Henry was going to go do, that would be fine. I'd have no problem. But if there was a liquid market out there that had a number, there's no way I'm giving an opinion because I'm just going to get smashed, right? Right. If it's just you versus me, that's fine. If it's me versus the market, that's not good. Now, once we go further than the market, it's like you versus the market, but then it's just one guy taking a bite out of you. That is like, okay, we can kind of deal with that. Now it's like these massive group chats of people, these discords, and then odds jam or whatever, and they're just like pound. And so I think if this does exist and it gets like, it's going to exist, and then get turned off because it's going to lose like, I don't know, $50 million in one day type thing, right? Like it's just going to, people are not going to be able to just like gnaw away at it and just like eat the crumbs. Or some people will, but it'll get to a Discord and then it'll go away.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Everybody should read the LIBOR scandal Wikipedia article before using prediction markets. And we built a system. We have a market making system that tries to take influence from everything, including like how is the third party market moving, right? Like if everybody gets blown up and we don't take a click, we'll still like drift. And more and more, I'm glad we made it durable and that it doesn't have to work that way, because I kind of feel like we're not that far away from pick an opener, open, and completely wall off. The only thing that matters is your personal fills. Never trust anything you see, because the potential to like wash trade and simulate some kind of massive market movement somewhere, and the number of people who might chase that on the market making side is growing exponentially.
You said that's what happened last year in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Someone was obviously faking the total 4 points.
Yeah.
And
that's sloppy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. You're talking about like just kind of like micro movements. I mean, I won't give away everybody's edges, but there's a lot of this happening right now at different times of day in different markets, and more and more it's like, just depeg from all of that. Like I'd rather just throw up -110, 500 both sides and linearly go up and have no idea what's happening in the market than be like vulnerable to this once you reach a certain size.
What is it? The astronaut meme, like, the game is bookmaking, always has been, always will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, but to Shipper's point though from earlier, like, if we do that and the market drifts, we're just gonna get pounded by like the odds jamming crew, and
You got to book. Right?
Yeah,
You got to understand that.
There's the equilibrium of like how often are they right versus how often are they one of the fools, and that's the thing that we're measuring.
For me, it's like I keep thinking of things where it's like I want to max exploit, then I do this, and then I'm getting exploited in another area because of my exploits. So I'm like, well, is my exploits covering the fact that I'm getting exploited? And it's like a very difficult game to run.
Yeah. You guys do player props at all?
No, that's actually not really.
Why did you not SGP it with that nugget, or did you?
So there just weren't many player props available.
Oh, okay.
Like that, there was enough uncertainty out that's obviously the angle that we would have gone. I would have liked to have put a lot of leverage on. Like the most leverage trade I could place was the money line.
Of course.
Because, but I would have loved to have like get more leverage than that. Obviously, I'm betting on like one sliver of an opinion. You want to have like all of it just be correlated with that one thing going.
Yeah. So player props not really touching them right now.
Yeah,
as a function of liquidity.
Not necessarily like a function of that somewhat, but also just like a tech area. Like I have the stuff that I can win on. I have a whole bunch of stuff I can win on. I'm trying to find stuff that I can win or not lose on that looks really good. So to me, you have to have your like winning stuff, and then you have to have stuff that is good for the book. So you should spend, once you've got your winners, you shouldn't really be trying to find more winners. I mean, find enough winners, but honestly, you should be trying to find stuff just that looks good. At least in the soft book world.
You're so dialed in on this, dude.
The PMs are very different, right? It's a very different game. Now, if the PMs get huge on this stuff, okay, maybe we start.
Like I said in my Substack today, most influential person on my betting career from terms of priming. I've thought almost directly, every thought I've had about it has been stemmed from that one video, the circle.
Unfortunately, it sounds like I've given away more than the C- stuff.
I've watched, I won't say who, but I've watched somebody in the office say to Chris that they've never seen somebody be able to get down so much on a rec book. And Chris was like, for a fee, I'll show you how to do it. And I was like, I can't believe Chris is about to charge this person like $10,000 to just spam square bets. Dude. Do you see how smart I am? And just like dump.
Yeah.
Like it's not that it's the audacity, right?
Yeah,
that's really the price of it all. I'm sure you have some more
no,
intelligent things to do too. But that's the core of it.
My favorite thing about people that are like, oh, you got to make accounts like look good, and what they'll do is they'll want to bet $10,000 a click, and they'll make $100 trade here, all dumb, and then they'll fire up a 10,000. I can limit it. What happened? It's like, I mean, how did you think that was going to work?
I said to GP on the Risk Takers podcast, Golden Pants, that if someone just played like a net forever and then just ended up shoving, like, what cards do you think he has? If he's just fold all in, what do you think he's got? He's clearly got aces, right? So like you can't just play with aces.
I've showed a couple of people what I do, and they're like, "That's a lot of EV you're losing." Like, yeah, I'm well aware. Like, I'm well aware how much I'm losing when I click these things. But you've got to play the game. Like,
So the reason soft books work the way they do is because it's profitable. And it's not just profitable because you don't want to lose money to sharps. It's also profitable because if you are inoculated against them, you can offer a really good product to Rex, right? And I think you maybe better than anybody kind of understand this dynamic, having spent so much time working at Rex Sportsbooks and just thinking about it. Do you think that PMs will have to reinvent some of those concepts from first principles in order to retain customers and win going up against the DraftKings and FanDuels of the world?
It depends if they're ever going to have to go up against them. Like the regulatory environment is so difficult to predict. And that really is the big swing.
I mean, look, you can win obviously California, Texas, and all the non-sports betting states. But if you want to expand into states that have it, like New York, and you want to you have to compete with them. I don't see how you can get away with not competing.
To me, I don't think that that's going to happen too much. Like to me, it's like if they get say 10% market share in New York, it's going to be like 7% increased TAM and 3% stolen from DraftKings and FanDuel.
Really?
Yeah. How do you think it's different?
Well, I would say
market share.
it's awesome if 70% of your new customers in an existing OSB state are new TAM, which is new players who are not using sportsbooks. But if you can do that, go steal the fucking DK players and the FD players because you must have a hit on your hands. Like, why would you not go after all of them? And can't. Like, certainly product parity is 90 to 95% achievable for sure. And then the question is that last 10 to 10%, can you do that too? How important is it? Does it require things like limiting or profiling customers? Does it require VIP programs? Are those achievable? Like that, I think a lot of the second stage of this war might be waged on those grounds, would be my opinion.
I am not so bullish on that. Like you're going against these two absolute, two and then some other absolute behemoths. And like these guys have experience in this industry and like a lot of experience in making customers happy. They know how to make customers happy. Obviously, these are new entrants. And also, I think one of the things I've kind of undersold, I've kind of been a FanDuel DraftKings bull publicly, but I've very much undersold probably the talent differential that are working for these big PMs versus these sports books. Like there are some very clever cookies working for the PMs. There's obviously some very smart people working on the sportsbook side too, but I would say the depth and breadth of that is much the people is better on PMs.
Well, I love hearing that. Are you, because it's good for our industry, but are you not maybe biasing too much from hearing just for trading teams? Because I know how poor trading teams, but at the end of the day, that's not really what's going to drive customers.
No, and not in this position. But it's just about hearing. I don't know, like just hearing of kind of any operators at any of these places. They do seem to be quite sharp. I don't know. Maybe I haven't fully fleshed out that take. That's the soft launch of this take on the pod.
All right.
I like the take that we're smarter than everybody else. I think that's right. I have no prior stuff to
I want to ask, so ignore PMs for a second.
Yeah.
Compare just DK FanDuel. If FanDuel tomorrow or DraftKings, whatever one you want to look at, said, we're going to change all our -110, -110s to -115, -115 pre, do they show a meaningful decline in customers?
With one doesn't, the other one doesn't?
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
the reason for that is not just because of increased VIG, it's because it's so ingrained in the American betting culture that it's -110. Like I've said stuff like this before, like some people see -118, -102, they're like, what is this? And it's like, it's still on the same straddle. Like, why is it not -120 +100? And so like it's ingrained in the betting culture.
I would agree with that. Now, same question, but one of them goes -05, -05. Do they take customers from the other one?
No.
Okay. So that's kind of why you think PMs will not.
Yes.
Okay.
One of a million reasons.
And
so if you think DraftKings and FanDuel are so good at these, the customer side of things, are you bullish on their predictions products?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, super bullish.
That's a hot take.
Have
you used them?
No, but but they're not trying yet. They're not trying yet.
Yeah, that is fair.
We need to wait and
Why aren't they trying?
so they're just biding their time, figuring out how to. They're not doing you know how ESPN Bet like rolled everything out in one go when their product sucked. They're gonna wait and wait and wait. The product is gonna be ready to go by football. I think I have no inside knowledge here. This is my thought. If I was them, wait. When football comes, then you need to be ready to go, and that's when you go and steal all the market share.
Okay.
You need to figure out how to deal basically your sportsbook product in the PM environment and have that ready to go by football
The
time.
current DK and FD products do not have open APIs. We don't know what the final DK product looks like, but I wouldn't hold my breath.
Right.
The API is open. I think an under reported part of the whole PM story is it's really an AI story, because polymarket and kalshi have open APIs, which historically would mean like, oh, if you're a serious developer, like a company, that's kind of nice. The docs are right there. But now what it means is like any Tom, Dick, and Harry can point an agent at it and integrate. And I think people have underappreciated how much AI has enabled the growth of these platforms. I would surface that as one of a million examples of how, for what I see from DKFD, probably Robinhood forthcoming, and many traditional players, is they still do not get it. They don't understand what makes this work.
Okay, that's interesting. To me, like that is a reason why they have so many market makers, right? And so like your belief is the reason why there's so much liquidity is because of the presence of these market makers.
Certainly the cold start problem gets solved doing that, which is a
for
big
sure. But like, so to me, I think that FanDuel and DraftKings are kind of going to be single maker. They're just going to do as much as they can to make it single maker.
Of course.
I mean, that's how they, if they can't run single maker, they're not going to be able to win. But they are going to do as much as possible to make it single maker.
Well,
and the thing is kalshi, are these PMs going to try to trend towards single maker? Because that's where the profitability is. It's not really about like trading and like making like
a lot of obstacles towards doing that.
Right, for sure.
I'm one of them.
Yeah. Like,
No, but really, like somebody like me, like we're gonna come with, spoiler alert, we're gonna show up with a big bankroll, knocking on the door and saying I'd like to market make. And if you tell me it's not possible, like my next phone call is to the CFTC.
Right, but what if you just make the maker fees really, really big, and then you make your internal makers right? They're paying the maker fee, but they're going to the parent company.
Well,
so it doesn't matter.
please provide me what the targets are that I have to hit to get these rebates that you're obviously providing to the other market makers. Like there, at some point, I can make it a problem.
Right.
And not everybody, you're right. Your GarageBand market maker can't do it.
Yeah.
But all it takes is one hero like myself to say the environment. No, but really, like
no, for sure. And this is something. This is why like my takes on these aren't actually that firm.
Okay.
Because I don't really know that much about like the PM world and like the regulations.
For sure, I'm riffing too. Like I don't know that I could actually pull this.
I have this like mental model of how it could work and like how I would go about trying to do it. But if I was actually working for these companies, I would have my legal counsel be checking all this stuff over and actually try to figure out what parameters I can work.
For what it's worth, right now with the fee structure and kalshi right now, I'd have to estimate they're getting 75% of the P&L. Right? I mean, look, most markets are traded at a 1 cent straddle.
Yeah.
And like it's
bye.
Yeah, 4% extra fees.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So like the majority is going to them, and then like even with RFQs, they're taking a large chunk. So I don't know if they're that like the polymarkets and the kalshis are that concerned.
At the moment, yes. With like if they can just operate unfettered, sure. Like you can make a very good business out of clipping the ticket. But if you have to compete, then no.
Sure, fair enough. But I will say, going back to your -110 -1 take being ingrained, which I completely agree with. What I think I have to give credit to kalshi here is they've done an excellent job hiding the fees.
Yeah.
Like you go in an NFL money line, it's like, oh, it's 48, 47. Look, it's so tight. And then after fees, it's the same as FanDuel and DraftKings. And it's like, I think the most rec customers are going to get tricked by that. And then they can easily advertise that we're better. And can't they steal market share away if they make it a big advertisement? This is even better than -110, and it's all fair.
And then they also have the value of first mover here, where they are just going to be like, they can basically build their own betting culture. They can build the PM culture. And like now FanDuel, DraftKings are kind of going to have to copy some of like what they do there. And so this time period up until the start of football, up until FanDuel and DraftKings are ready to go, this is probably the most important time as possible for the incumbents.
And what I would say, like, and to shout us, to shill us a little bit, like, if you pull up any odds screen, Novig has the best price, like 50%. I think that's what I would hope we'd market ourselves as, like.
Yeah.
We'll see what ends up mattering. This coming football season is going to be nuts. Nobody is ready.
No, this is the biggest one.
It's going to be like life defining for many people. Certainly the three of us. They stay.
Okay, wait. I want to on that. You said it was your best prediction market week this week. What
biggest? He lost.
Biggest.
Yeah.
No, I still
clear.
What in terms of EV?
Yeah.
What would you expect percentage of your overall P&L to be on PMs for 2026?
For 2026, I think somewhere between 5 and 10.
Oh wow, that little. Okay.
Yes.
Percent. I'm saying percentage of your overall P&L. Okay.
Yes.
Do you think that number will ever get to 25 plus?
There's certainly worlds where that's possible. Yeah, absolutely. Making these predictions is almost impossible.
Yeah. Of course.
But for now, it's like I would say like we aren't even in the spot. We're not even really in the arena. We just pop into the arena and like see this like tasty little suckling pig, and then just like slaughter the pig. Like I'm not in there like battling people every day,
Right.
and so like we just go. We're probably we would be some of the worst customers of all time.
Oh,
at these like just just us entities would be like literally just go in there, slaughter, get out. Like don't do anything good for the ecosystem. When we do a decent amount of making, but we're making to take. We're not making to make.
You'd be surprised how healthy that is, though. Doing that,
really?
Yeah. I mean, it
still providing a better price.
It's providing. Oftentimes, your taker is arbing, right? So they don't necessarily care if the time being they're losing. Like this, we've talked about this, right? I think everybody's going to funnel sharps into like you simply must make if you're going to be sharp, right? Like you can find a way to make off of your sharp information, and it is just so much more positive. I think all the fee structures and everything is going to be oriented that way.
So I have a little bit of a funny story. I was like a couple months ago, I was texting Shipper about like a SGA take I had because I know he's a big SGA stan, and then I was just testing liquidity on kalshi, and I posted up 500,000 contracts on SG, and he texted me next thing, "This you?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." The reason I said
I've seen that text in a lot of group chats, by the way.
And the reason, and like obviously that's an extremely bad way to get down because you are alerting everyone that likely someone sharp or someone with a deep roll has an opinion on this.
Yeah.
Do you have a bot in place? Because if you have a take, you don't want to just dump whatever you're willing to take on it. So sure. So do you have a bot or do you have an engineer or is just you manually reload and just
been doing it manually at the moment. And so in the future, for sure, that's something to check out. But at the moment, it's that on that point, you want to have when you're placing a bet, you want to have no footprint.
Right.
You want every single time that the bet is placed, you want them to have no idea who's placing it, of course.
Before anyone thinks I'm a massive idiot, I didn't really care about my take, like getting out there that much. I just was testing like the water to see if there's any liquidity. I'm well aware that posting 500,000.
There's nothing more fun to me than when I know you're punting somewhere and then I see another group chat where somebody screenshots an order of yours and is like, "This is sharp," and they go tail it somewhere else. And I want to be like, no. It's the last college basketball game of the night. He's just up. It's Hawaii. Like, don't chase it. But I can't say anything. All right. I think we're going to wrap up. We often like to ask, what is the most expensive lesson you've ever learned in prediction markets? You can
What are we doing for sports for you?
But expensive lessons are always fun. Go out on a bad note.
It's hard to even really come up with one other than something where, we will have losing an account has probably been the most expensive, expensive one. And like, I don't know, some really, really dumb stuff with withdrawing at the wrong time or something like that. That's probably just like been the worst. We are very calculated in the way that we do all of this stuff. And so like, everyone's probably lost accounts by withdrawing at the wrong time. That was probably the stupidest mistake.
You got cut well down?
No. We still won, but we could have won a lot more.
Yeah.
All right, Chipper.
A pleasure.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
We're out.